What is going on? You are listening to Tags Podcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. This is episode 672. I am your host, Stevie V, alongside co-host Jeremy Ross Lopez. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm really well. How are you?
Really good, really good. Joining us, of course, as always, the lovely, talented Cody Maurice Dolgett. How the hell you doing, Cody?
Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful. You know, Jersey is a great place. I'm here.
That's right. You are in Jersey right now and gonna be going to Atlantic City tomorrow with your mother. How exciting.
I know. Gambling for her birthday. So, you know, if I win $1 million, I'll disappear.
Okay. We'll find a new replacement for you, yes.
Oh, damn. That's fast.
Well, I thought that's what you meant by that. But
I'll still do the show.
Never.
But from
good.
Okay.
Yeah. It would be your one task that you have to do.
Exactly, darling.
Yeah. Although $1 million doesn't go as far as it used to go these
Facts.
days. But yeah, but
Very true.
good luck.
Thank you.
Jeremy, we're going to ask you, you have been in P-Town, Provincetown. It was Gay Pride. What can you tell us about Pride? I saw some wigs. What was T-Dance like? How
It
was
was
it?
a lot of fun. It was an awesome hot mess as usual. I met some performers that I loved. We went to drag shows. We did a caftan theme. It was funny because
Not a caftan theme.
I love
we just decided that one day my boyfriend and I were like running errands and stuff, and we saw like caftans at a store and ended up just coming up with the idea of doing like wigs, sunglasses, and caftans, and it actually made it a lot of fun for all of us. We went with like a bunch of friends, my boyfriend's sister, couples that are also our close friends, and it was just a blast. And it's fun to be silly, and of course it was like, I think, dog tag theme or something, so it
Right.
had nothing to do with the theme, but it was a lot of fun, and it just made it more silly, and like it's very carefree when you don't have to like worry about your outfit. And it was a little chilly that day too, so it was kind of perfect to wear like jeans and a track jacket under, and we had wigs and sunglasses, and it was a blast. And yeah, overall the visit was fun. It's so quaint and beautiful there. Everyone's so nice, and we found some great spots to eat and shop, and it was awesome.
I just love it there. And you're there earlier on in the season. I remember last year I went in early May when it was that transition period before everybody starts coming season wise and floods the commercial street. But I'm just curious, what is Pride like there? Is there a parade? What happens?
So there's just lots of events going on. So they had Friday night, they had some drag shows. They had a Lady Gaga versus Beyonce party.
Fun.
They had
Nice.
some live performers that sing amazing. And then it was just kind of like all little parties and events. And then they have like the Over the Rainbow tea dance as one of the themes. And then Solid Gold is another theme of one of the other tea dances. So the tea dance is usually 4 to 7 Friday through Sunday. So that's always fun. Just
Love the tea dance there.
Yeah. And yeah, it's
At the boat slip, correct?
Yes, exactly. And it's fun, and it's definitely more low key this time of year, which is like the time that I love to visit. So it definitely ramps up as the weather gets better, and then there's like less places that are available to eat and less parking and just all of that kind of stuff. But it's fun all year round, to be honest.
Really fun. I mean, you're right. Bear Week is upon us and it's crazy over there, but love it and glad you had a great time. Really good. Well, last night I was glued to the set because the Tony Awards just happened and some great winners happen. Of course, I've been talking about since I saw it, Nicole Scherzinger in the revival of Jamie Lloyd's Sunset Boulevard. Not only did she win for Best Actress in a Musical Performance with a really she won the Olivier in London, but she had some really stiff competition here. This was like season of the women.
Yeah.
We learned at the Tonys that this Broadway is back. It's made the most money in years to come, which, yeah, it's so great. It feels that way. I mean, I've been going to Broadway since all season long, and it's just been really vibrant and exciting. And so really congratulations to Nicole. I've seen it 3 times, and the show won Best Revival Musical as well. And we were screaming in my apartment here last night, as was Diego. He loved it as well. But there were some really great winners as well, including Maybe Happy Endings with Darren Criss. And it's a show that I really wanted to see, that I probably will see now. He won for Best Male Vocalist or Best Male Actor in a Musical, but so did the show. Cynthia Erivo was an amazing host, I have to say. Cody, did you see? Amazing.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That woman can sing the phone book, and I would just sit there in awe because she is just amazing. So
really, it was just brilliant. And there was so many queer references throughout the whole show. Not surprising as well. But congratulations to Cole Escola, who made history as the first openly non-binary actor to win a Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Play for Oh Mary, which he really invented in his head, as did the director as well, which is really exciting. Michael Arden won for that. And so really some really great moments. I thought the performances were all really good. And yeah, I was really happy for it, for all of the winners and performances. So yeah, congratulations to that. Last World Pride happened and in DC, and it seems like the resistance was at hand. People were really ignoring President Trump. He tried to close down DuPont Circle, which, if you know about that area, it is the area that LGBTQ people love to go. There's plenty of bars around that support our community, and it didn't stop anything because it went down well. Jennifer Lopez raised voices and was the headliner, and she sung her rendition of George Michael's Freedom, which is one of my favorite songs by him of all time. And she sung it and backed by the Gay Men's Chorus of DC, which, I don't know, did you guys see clips of it?
Yeah, it came out really awesome, and she looks amazing as usual, but it looked like a really great show.
She had a thong on, and she looked like prancing around the stage. I mean, we all know how gorgeous she is and how her body and everything. But to hear her sing Freedom, meant so much. And I just think it went off like that would have been the show to see. Her band sounded really amazing. I'm so glad she was there. And she really thanked all her LGBTQ fans throughout the years. And I think it was a really good artist to have. She also did a song from her upcoming film that I can't wait to see, the musical version of Kiss of a Spider Woman. And have you guys seen the trailer? Oh my
gosh. I can't wait to see it.
She looks gorgeous.
I was fortunate to see it on Broadway with the woman that originated on Broadway, Chita Rivera, years ago, and it was brilliant. And then I saw another rendition of it also on Broadway in 1994 with Vanessa Williams as as the Spider-Woman as well. And we know Vanessa can sing it as well too. But to see all these years later, Jennifer Lopez take on the film version of it, it just looks exquisite. She looks amazing. Her voice sounds amazing. I cannot wait. This may be... let's go to you, Jeremy, real quick, because I know you're a huge fan. Will you be seeing this the moment it comes out?
Oh, definitely. Are you kidding? I can't wait. I've already showed my boyfriend, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm so excited for you."
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so excited for you. I love that.
I like that. I'm excited too. Yeah, it was really good. Other key moments at World Pride included Paris Hilton, but also Khalid, who we've talked about, that came out was it earlier this year or late last year, where he was outed by a former person that he dated, and he performed at World Pride. He also broke down in tears too at one point. He said happy tears. He said, "I feel like I'm home," which was really good. I don't know if you guys saw any clips of
Aw.
that, of him breaking down, but it's
Yes,
really,
I saw that.
yeah, really amazing moment. It just looked like it went down the way we wanted it to, and it was kind of iffy on how is this going to go, but we will, I'm sure, continue to hear more about it as we continue Pride Month. You know, there is a whole Pride PSA here in New York, because as we kick off Pride at the end of this month, there's many events happening all month long here in New York. We had Queens Pride a few weeks ago. Brooklyn Pride is happening this weekend, Cody. I'm not sure if you knew
Ooh.
that. But
I
we've
won't be able to make it, unfortunately.
I
But
know. I might head over there.
you
Uh,
are?
I might. It sounds like a lot of fun if I could. Yeah. The Bronx is having their Pride Month. We've got all kinds of events, including for those that are into fetish, like I am. We've got the infamous, what is that called? Folsom East, which is
Yep.
the sister to Folsom in the iconic one in San Francisco happening. And of course, Pride itself at the end of the month on the 29th. But there's a Pride PSA where New York NYC Health Department promotes safety and wellness during Pride celebrations. And it really is everything on your health and wellness, taking care of yourself, but even things like getting your fentanyl, if looking for fentanyl, if you're going to partake in that, getting those fentanyl strips that they will give away for free here in New York, because they really don't want anybody to have any problems or issues. And I don't know, I'm excited for this year. I will finally be in town for it. So I'm not sure what I'm doing yet, but I'm looking forward to it. And I know you won't be in town, Cody, correct?
I'll be in Tampa, but there,
Yeah.
you know what? Coincidentally, their Pride is that Sunday, that same Sunday. So I'll experience a Pride, thankfully. So I'm happy
Yes.
about that.
Got it. All right. Well, there is moving over to Puerto Vallarta, which had their Pride celebration over Memorial Day weekend, our Memorial Day weekend. There's a security alert that is making its way from the embassy that use caution when using dating apps. And it's the U.S. consulate. General Guadalajara has confirmed several reports of U.S. citizens being, get this, kidnapped by individuals the victims met on dating apps in recent months in Puerto Vallarta and Nuevo Nayarit areas. And Nayarit is the adjoining, it's the next state over, but many of our community love to visit there as well. I've been over there. You and I, Cody, went to Sayulita,
Yeah,
and
it was
that's over
amazing.
in Nayarit, and you know how close it is. Uh,
Yeah.
Victims and their family members in the U.S. have at times been extorted for large sums of money to secure their release, and they're just making us aware that this type of violence is not limited to certain geographical areas, but it's kind of scary to think that you could go on Grinder when in a place like Puerto Vallarta, Cody, and think that, you know, maybe you're just meeting up with somebody at, you know, the next villa, and you could be extorted. Or, I mean, what are your thoughts that it's come to this, that, you know, they're warning us on this?
I mean, I feel like people all over should be aware of something like this. But I mean, if they're issuing a warning, then it must be a real issue. But for me personally, I try and do my due diligence of making sure that people are actually who they say they are on the internet before I actually go and meet them. Sometimes it happens to where I don't do that, but as much as possible, I definitely try and make sure. But I think that this is something that we all should be have our eyes open to, because it could happen anywhere, honestly.
Yeah, you bring up great points, because it could happen here as well. We've seen stories happen as well. Jeremy, you know, one of the things that they say in this warning is to meet people in public too. And I know that's the way you met your boyfriend,
Mhm.
was in public, even though he DM'd you. But what do you say when you hear this warning for places like Puerto Vallarta?
I think it's scary, and I would say that taking more steps in vetting the person before you meet up with them is definitely important. Like, just maybe I don't know, a video call and just like chatting and getting to know them better before you end up meeting up with them, just in case, and like to protect yourself, because I mean that's just really scary.
Yeah, and it is a warning in Puerto Vallarta, but I would say, yeah, meet people in Puerto Vallarta. I go there a lot. I talk a lot about it. There are so many queer spaces you could go to. You go to meet at the beach. Thinking about blue chairs. You could simply go to it's not like a shortage of spaces that you can be safe at. I would just automatically say, hey, let's meet at this place, blue chairs or this bar before you go home and have your fun. Because I just think, yeah, with warnings like this, you don't want to find yourself in a precarious situation or any of the things that they're mentioning, extortion and all this stuff. No, ma'am. We don't want any
Stay
of that.
away from me.
Yeah, exactly. Stay safe. Oh my gosh. Well, we forget this, but it's been 10 years since marriage equality it was put for every state to acknowledge gay marriage. And 2015 was the year when the Supreme Court ruled that states weren't allowed to ban same-sex couples from marrying, that the Equal Protection Clause and the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution protected people's fundamental right to choose who to marry. And it was a 5-4 decision with one Republican appointed justice siding with the 4 justices appointed by Democratic presidents. And the Supreme Court ruled that all levels of government had to treat same-sex relationships the same way that opposite-sex relationships were treated. It's a good reminder right now that we're 10 years into this. I remember the day exactly, and it was kind of the kickoff of Pride. It was a Friday night, and I was at a restaurant, a Mexican restaurant in Chelsea that doesn't exist anymore. I was with some friends, and it was the Obama administration. And I'll never forget how excited we were because we were at dinner and we heard that marriage was now the equality. You could get married, and we were shouting. I never thought 10 years later that I would be getting married myself, which I am. And that's really exciting. But as we all know, it is being challenged and threatened. There was a story I was reading earlier that religious conservatives are really pushing in southern states to get it heard at the Supreme Court to have it removed. When you hear this, Jeremy, that 10 years we've had marriage equality, but that it could be threatened, what are your thoughts?
I think it's terrible, and I hope that it doesn't happen. I do know that they're continuously trying to reverse so many different things that have been passed that specifically impact our community. And so I'm just really hoping that it doesn't work to their benefit and that it just has a different outcome.
Yeah, exactly. And Cody, as we know, yeah, we have 10 years under our belt, but, abortion has changed, and that was much longer than this.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts when you hear this?
Oh, I definitely think it could happen. I think that with the administration that's currently in the presidency right now and kind of in the judiciary portion of the government over here. I mean, really all over, honestly.
Yeah.
Which makes it sad for me because thinking about it, all the cards are stacked against us. But we still have to fight. We still have to, we won't go silently into the night because I think that it's worth it. It's made so many more lives better by having marriage equality, and I think that that's what we deserve. It's a basic human right to be able to love who you love out in public. So I think that we just need to continue to be vigilant and make sure that this is something that does not get overturned.
Yeah, because it could take many years to get this have the Supreme Court hear it, but I don't know. They seem to want to. I think that those that were already married will be grandfathered in, and states will have to recognize this. I've read many reports on that, but still, it's taking away something that we've fought so hard. We have, like I said, 10 years under our belt. we will continue to report on this because it's very important and very important to me as well right now. Okay. Well, there's a couple stories that I merged together, but there was a recent article that just came out called Dating Apps Might Be Messing with Your Mental Health. I'll go more into that in a second, but recently online, gays were debating whether hookup culture is actually about hooking up when somebody on social media nicknamed Billy Boy had the gays divided. He declared, quote, gay hookup culture is just men seeking validation from other men. Seemed simple yet provocative, and it racked up almost 600,000 views as of counting on X. Tons of responses. Most of them were kind of sarcastic, but somebody said, yep, the sky is indeed blue. That no shit, right? But the notion that hookups fulfill our desires for affirmation seems kind of self-evident, but I don't know. Some others said hookup culture may be predicated upon seeking validation from other men, but the word just is dismissive, what somebody put in there. And I kind of agree with that one. Moving on to the article, and then we'll discuss. This Jenny O'Hara really is somebody who put this article together. And she said that, well, dating apps, we are often looking for that serotonin level and that validation. And when somebody acknowledges you on social media, particularly for queer men often of a certain age, if you live in certain rural parts, you're not like maybe necessarily meeting up with tons of friends all the time. And going on apps is kind of a necessity because there's not a lot of spots to go to. What if you're more of a loner type and you don't really do well during this time, during Pride Month, to be out with huge, large crowds? I know as I get older, I don't really like to be in huge crowds, and online dating and apps like this can really at least help you meet people. But what does it really mean? And that's the question to be had. Jeremy, when you hear that hookup culture is it really about hooking up? Some people, Jeremy, were like, yeah, I really want that orgasm. I really do want the sex part of it. But a lot of them were like, no, they can spend hours and hours just scrolling around, and it's really just satisfying for the moment, but not really. What do you say to that, Jeremy?
I do remember the feeling of just constant scrolling and not actually finding like any fulfillment in it. So I do definitely think it fills a certain void for the moment, but it's very temporary and less fulfilling in the end. Like a lot of times I feel like you want it so badly, and then once you get it, then you're on to the next thing, or like you shift your attention to something else. And I do think it also sometimes makes you just yearn for not a relationship, but just more connection with someone rather than just having it be super transactional.
Yeah, I mean, I get it too. And as somebody that I haven't done a lot of app stuff, there is a serotonin level that can happen that when somebody acknowledges you, that can happen just on social media in general. When somebody reacts to something that you post, I'm guilty of that. Like, I'm like, oh, yay, something that I posted had a reaction, and that is a quick boost. What do you say to this debate, Cody, that's happening on is hookup culture, is it actually about hooking up, or is it maybe a little bit more nuanced? It's both.
Oh yeah, I think it's definitely both. I feel like we as human beings, we're so complex, and there can be many reasons for you to go out there and do something that boosts your self confidence. And I think that it is definitely both. Being in this culture right now, myself, I know that yes, it does fulfill a need in me that helps build my self-esteem, or even if it's just for a short bit. And also, I really want that orgasm. It's something that I enjoy them. Who would have thunk I enjoy my orgasms? But
Right.
I think everything in moderation, because Jeremy brought up a really good point. Like, if this becomes a crutch, then I say take stock of where you are in your journey as far as hooking up is concerned. If you feel like you need more connection, seek that out. Make sure that you are doing the things to make you as a human being happy, and that you're evolving and growing and not doing things that are actually hurting your self-esteem at that point. So yeah, I definitely see all points here. I think you guys made some really great ones, and it's given me some room to like reflect on my own life. So thank you.
Well, and thank you for the take stock too, because I think right now more than ever, we have to take stock almost every day with our mental health and where are we with work? Where are we with our friends? Where are we with our mental health and our body image? And where are we? Are we celebrating pride enough? Are we not celebrating it? Where are we? You have to almost take stock all the time, and it could be exhausting, to be honest. But
Darling.
right, but you have to, I think, in many ways, to just kind of check in with yourself and see where you're at with it. And if you are using the apps, like many of us are, that you kind of have to see what your balance is all the time. And I just think that's, I get notifications if I haven't posted on my OnlyFans. I like, you haven't posted in a while. It's like, okay, shut up. I don't want to hear that. And I know I have to post for this show on this, and it's a lot. And then you're just managing your normal, regular lives as well. But you just have to take everything in stride. And but we are here for you on that.
Also, I kind of want to add one more thing.
Please.
It could, you know what? Having that connection could look differently for everybody. It could mean going out and looking for a boyfriend. It could mean having a regular fuck buddy. It can mean so many different things. It can mean actually going on a date beforehand and just having coffee and then going to fuck. But whatever that is for you, that connection, or if you're just happy with hookups, continue to do them. But just find what's right for you.
Yeah, it's a beautiful part of our community is that unlike straight men, that they say straight men are the forgotten ones right now. I see a lot of stories, if you listen to Scott Galloway, that they are lost in many ways. And I feel like tap into our queer community, because if one thing we really are a community, and you can find community. There's a lot. If you don't have it right now, you can find it in many different ways. There's all kinds of activities you can join for our community that even straight men don't always have. And I think, yeah, tap into the positives that are our queer community. Kind of staying on topic, there was, and because yesterday, today's June 9th when we record this drops on the 10th, but I didn't realize this, but June 8th is National Best Friends Day. And they were talking about this in an article about during Pride, about really tagging your hashtag gay best friends. And I wish I would have known this, because I would put you two in my picks.
I know, right?
I know, yeah. But last June, one Reddit user praised his gay bestie on a subreddit, saying that they met more than a decade prior and that it had been wonderful navigating gay manhood together as brothers. And in the comments, many people have said, I hope everyone has some platonic gay buds in their life. It can be tough being queer, and it's easier done when surrounded by other folks who have gone through the same or similar experiences. And a support group of friends has been so freaking pivotal for me. They wrote, in my emotional developments, don't know where I'd be without them. Well, that sparked so many comments from really beautiful things about queer friendships that really are around. And I think it is so important to have these friendships like that support you. Jeremy, when you hear this about, really acknowledging, I mean, I got a lot of texts from you and I loved them while you were away on your vacation.
Yeah.
How important having, platonic but close queer friendships?
I think it just helps make like life better. And I feel like we have a lot of similar experiences, but we also have a lot of different experiences. And to share that with a friend that understands those situations and can sometimes give advice or outlook or opinion, or just to reach out to in general, is like nothing else. And I feel like for me, I definitely didn't have any queer friends growing up. I had just straight girlfriends. And so when I moved to New York, I feel like that opened up like a whole can of worms for me to make friends that had similar situations, and then ending up cultivating just a handful of friendships that I made along the way.
Cody, it's so funny, the importance of friendships. And, you and I both live in New York. And the other day we had a fun moment where I felt like it was a Thursday night and I was out with Diego. He loves to tease me because I said, "Do you want to go hear your drag performers at Rise Bar?" And he's like, "Okay, baby." And then later I said, "Do you want to go to the Cock?" And he's like, "You had a master plan." I'm like, "Not really, but he. But I text you, and I know you were working, and I text our other friend Gregory, and both of you were like, "Yep, be there." And it was like amazing. All of us gathered at
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, it
So
was.
much fun.
We had, how much fun did we have? And
That was
that's the
amazing.
beauty of, back to this article, of queer friendships like that, where you can just message your besties and just be like, "Hey, are you around? Do you want to meet up? You want to go to the guy?" And everybody joined up. What do you say to that? And what the larger issue that we're talking about here?
I love it. And it was so random. And I think it's because we all have our like we're on the same wavelength as far as that's concerned. And I don't
Right.
know if it's necessarily because we're gay, but I think that we came from the same kind of culture. We enjoy the same things. And I think having those types of relationship are fantastic. Now, on the larger spectrum of this, I believe that it's just really amazing to have somebody that can relate to you and that there's like a safety in it that I think that speaks to the larger community, because I can go anywhere, even to a gay guy that doesn't have the same interests as I do, and we have something in common. And I think it's really beautiful. And I think that, we need to lean more into that as a community. And so I think this article is highlighting some great things.
Yeah, I really love it. And I think it's one of our superpowers that we have over our straight friends. Seriously, look it up right now. Straight men, particularly straight white men, are, there's a whole campaign, and there's some people doing some really good work to not just put them aside to pasture, but to really, like, we got to look out for our straight white men, because they're in danger, girl. Because they just don't have the support
That's
that we
wild to
do.
me.
Yeah, I mean, come on, Whoopi.
Girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I mean, it is, I believe, one of our superpowers, and I love it. And I love, as much as, I'm now engaged in a relationship, I will never turn my back on my friendships. They're some of the most important friendships that I've cultivated. And like we've talked off, air too, it's that sometimes friendships come and go, and that's okay to let them go too. But if you are in that predicament, know that there's room for more newer friendships that are healthy for you. And sometimes that can happen too. But
That's
yeah,
right. And
yeah,
you know what? And I don't regret any friendship that I've ever had, because it's made me who
me
I am
either.
today. So I think that you're right. It cultivates us as people. So it's a
And I do
beautiful
really
thing.
love the ones that you can just pick up where you left off, but you don't have to
Ooh,
check in all the time. Those are really awesome too.
Yeah,
yes.
and I can tell you, as aging too, some of the ones that maybe I did put out to pasture friendships, I it's this time period right now where we're saving the date for the wedding. I am revisiting some of those friendships. Not that I want to have this, we're going to pick up where we left off, but some of them I'm just going to extend an invitation to.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean much more than, you were a part of my life, like you said, Cody, and this is an important thing in my life happening. And yeah, I think as I age, I have less hard feelings towards some of the people that are no longer close to me. Maybe something happened, but I am not carrying that around anymore, like I have in the past, for sure. Jeremy can attest to that. But I am much less. I'm much lighter when it comes to stuff like that, which I'm happy about that. So
Which is great because you start a new chapter for your relationship without any of that baggage, like just being able to move on and continue life.
Exactly. So much more healthier on so many aspects.
Mhm.
There is a queer community, or at least one person on TikTok that wants to reclaim the use of the term gay as a pejorative. And here's the thing he goes by undiagnosed, what is it? Undiagnosed Anthony. So take that with a grain of salt with that. But he says, I can say this as unfortunately, I'm a little bit of a homosexual. He pauses. Calling things gay is back. Ugh, he says. He grimaces. He goes on to say, and the video has racked up 3.8 million views as of recent. He goes on to say, the gays started it. I can't even help myself, he says. When my brother is acting like a weirdo, I'm like, stop acting gay. Meanwhile, I'm roaming around kissing boys. Well, he pleads his case for he doesn't think it's such a big deal to bring back. Remember that period when everybody said, "Oh, that's so gay. That's so gay." It wasn't really my era for it, but I remember
Just
hearing
mine.
it from the kids, and I'm thinking it was cringy back then too, because I often thought, "Wait a minute, but I'm gay." I mean, I guess if you take the word back to original Inception back in the period of like the 20s, it having a gay old time, or the Flintstones even, really meant a fun time. I liked its meaning back then, having a fun time, but to turn it into, oh, that's so gay, or what you're wearing, oh, that's so gay, I don't really like it. I don't think it's back. Let's start with you, Cody. What do you think? Should we be bringing this back up?
Hated it then. I hate it now. It is ridiculous. It's something that it's like counterintuitive to me as a gay man, a proud gay man, to say something is gay and meaning that it's bad. It doesn't. It's just. It's kind of the same thing as the N word for me. I don't get how we could turn that into something positive. But I don't. Uh, I don't try and take hold over how somebody expresses themselves as if they're part of the community with words. I don't hold that over them. I don't try to lower that over anybody else. I think for me personally, I shan't be using either of those words because I don't think that they are productive for either community.
Yeah, I'm always so late to the game with a lot of these words, as both of you know. It's so funny is that, but I would never be using this word. I've heard stuff like this, and if you notice, I use queer a lot more. I just think it makes more sense for our community to really bridge the acronym together a little bit more. But Jeremy, did they use this when you were growing up, and what do you think about bringing it back as that's so gay?
Yeah, they definitely used it, but it was always making fun of something in a negative connotation, and I just don't. I've never liked it or used it for explaining anything, and I just don't find it funny, and I definitely don't agree with it coming back or plan on surrounding myself with anyone that uses that saying.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird word. Some of my reality shows that I watch sometimes when I'm just having a moment use like girls will use straight girls will use dude this, dude that. I'm like, dude, oh, like,
That's cute to me.
oh, I hate it. I'm like, if I was a lady, I would not be using that word, dude,
And
ever.
I'm getting down with bro too. So if I call you bro, get used to it, okay? Bro.
Diego and I were using like teasing each other. I'm like, "Yo, bro, what do you want for dinner?" He's like, "I don't know, bro." And you hear it with his accent, his Spanish accent is like amazing, and I live for it.
That's
I want to listen now. I want to hear
my
it.
boyfriend and I say the same thing. We're like, we're not gay, bro. Like,
Yeah, let's continue broing out here with some advice. And you can always reach out to us on the gram. We'll give our handles at the end of the show, so you can reach out to any one of us and ask us for sex or relationship advice, but you can also, as somebody just did recently, where do I email you? Well, you can email us, go to tagspodcast.com and just contact us that way. That's the best way to reach us. We are here for you, solicited and unsolicited. But this one comes from Reddit, and it says, how to turn your fuck buddies into actual friends without jeopardizing your marriage. Okay, that sounds like a whole lot there, but
Girl,
let me read it. As
leave
the
it
title
alone.
says, my husband and I have been together 14 years and married 7. We started gradually opening our relationship up about 4 years ago, and now we are fully open. So far, our rule has been that we only meet random guys for fucking and don't fuck our actual gay friends. Okay. But lately, I have met some wonderful gays through Grindr with whom I would love to establish a real friendship besides just fuck buddies. Any tips about how to navigate such situations? Guys in open relations, how do you deal with this without risking developing feelings to the other guys? I mean, I'll start with this as somebody that is, you know, in my relationship, we've explored, we're both of a certain age where I was single forever and having a lot of fun. And often we'll meet somebody together, but we go out periodically throughout the week. We go out to a place here in New York. I've mentioned it, the New York Eagle, the Con, cruising bars. We'll meet somebody, we'll flirt with them, we'll have a little bit of fun with them. But it did take a while, like over a year, to find, at least for me, what I was comfortable with, finding the to know that my partner really does love me and it's just about sex. That takes like a lot of work and time. These people, 14 years together is a long time. I think friendships can happen, but you do go into sort of a territory of, are we talking about polyamory now? How close are you bringing these people in? I think it can happen. I mean, it's more fun having fun with people that you know. So, I mean, I was out with my partner the other day, and there was somebody that I used to play around with that I'm still friends with that we saw, and I introduced him to Diego, and we were like kind of feeling the vibe up a little bit. There was a couple of situations, and I do think it's a little bit more special when you have a history of that. I don't know, Jeremy, what do you say to this? What advice would you give to somebody that has been together that long, but they kind of want to be friends with some of these fuck buddies?
For this, I'm not really sure. I mean, to be honest, just because I feel like it's like a sticky situation a little bit where it somewhat crosses the line of making the people that were supposed to be like strangers and hookups, they're like getting closer to home, and I feel like it could meddle in your relationship a little bit more than you planned for. And I just know, at least based off of some of the gays that I've been around in my area, that I don't know if it would work to like your relationship's benefit. Like it's so different from keeping it completely separate and having the fun, but keeping it at that, at bay, kind of, than welcoming it as friendships. And I've never been one to sleep with people that I associate as friends, really. Like some other friend groups do, like they sleep around or they sleep with each other and then they hang out after. I've never really been that, uh, I guess, open to that. And I feel like just the jealousy factor comes in too, and comes into play when you think of like how much meddling they could actually do in your relationship if you let them in more than just a fuck buddy or just more than a hookup.
Yeah, basically, you're speaking wisdom and sensibilities, because I think you're probably right. I'm sure many psychologists would agree with you, and I do too. In that, as a non-psychologist, but I play one on this show sometimes. But I think that yeah, it can get dicey, and as we all know, relationships in general require work, and daily work. And then you factor in what's going on in that particular season. And then you factor in that we all have work and our own separate lives. And then you factor in finances and what's going on with that. And then family life. And then you're going to like try and layer in something like this.
Yeah, so I feel like there's enough factors that already are in just being in a relationship with one other person. And obviously, these two have taken so much time to get to know each other and get to that spot of being comfortable and everything. So I think that alone is great. But I just feel like bringing in other people as friends that you've slept with is risky, like just in general.
Messy is what it is.
Well, why don't you continue on, Cody?
Girl, this is too much, girl. Okay, well, let me start by saying this. I think it could happen, but it would take so much work. It would take so much communication, so much trust. There's so many factors that have to go into this to make the perfect cocktail for you to bring your friends around your boyfriend that you are sleeping with. Because honestly, for me, that's almost what a boyfriend is. It's a friend that I have sex with, somebody that I enjoy having company with, that I have like a romantic feeling. Like what is the boundary between the two? Basically, I don't see it. I don't think that I'm capable of it, because if you out there having sex with somebody and then you bring them in my face, Steve, I think you've witnessed
Yes, right.
this happening. It did not end well for either parties as far as I am concerned, because I was in this situation and he wasn't even currently sleeping with that guy. But the fact that the communication wasn't there was enough to just set me off, and it was not a good night. So yeah, but I don't think that I'm capable of this. I think that when something like this happens, I feel like you should tread very carefully.
Yeah, and that being said, I think back to the 14 years together, I was recently traveling with some friends that are a couple, long-standing couple, much like this couple that we're talking about. And, you know, when you're together with people, we were together almost 3 weeks and we shared everything on that in my African trip. And this couple was telling me that at one point they had a third in their relationship. They tried like a throuple. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. They don't talk to them anymore. It didn't ruin their relationship, but that got, I think that person perhaps in their situation, while it was good for a minute, became maybe not good anymore. I didn't want to use the word toxic, but just it just wasn't working anymore. And I believe they don't talk to that person anymore. That just kind of moved out. But fortunately, their relationship was fine and stood the test of that period, because they actually brought it a step further and became a throuple. So, you know, I do hear what everyone's saying, and I agree with everyone and all those points that we've made. I do think sometimes, once again, our queerness is our superpower, and we are able to handle certain things that maybe our hetero counterparts cannot. With that being said, it does take relationships that have stood the test of time often. And I think that is one of our superpowers. And I think we're able to handle it a little. Like, we've been given this ability to handle it. Not all of us, but many of us. More so. Yeah, not all of us, but
not my superpower.
Yeah. And like my friends were able to handle this and even bring that person into their relationship for a period of time. And it wasn't like they were spewing like, oh, it was the worst thing ever. It was like, no, it was great. And it was great while it lasted. And then it wasn't great anymore. And they simply moved on. They are still strong as ever. And now it's a story to be told on an African adventure. So, I mean, you know, I hear it and I see I look at it as our superpower, but I also hear where everyone's coming from as well. So yeah, not for everyone. Definitely not for everyone. Oh my gosh. I could do this with you all night long, but we have to wrap up this show. Oh my gosh. You could always follow my co-host. You can follow Jeremy on the gram at @JRossLopez, at @JRossLopez. Follow Cody on the gram and his Blue Sky account at the same handle at Mr. Maurice. And Mr. Maurice, follow me on the gram. I am _Steve V. Go to our website, tagspodcast.com. Cody and I are live every Wednesday night. This Wednesday is no exception. And we are live from 9 to 10 Eastern Time. Go to tagspodcast.com to join us live. We really want more of you to join us because it's a lot of fun when you message us in real time about some of these hot topics. And so go to tagspodcast.com for Tags Live. Guys, so much fun.
Yes.
In the meantime, continue having hot gay sex. Lovely.